Okay, welcome back. This is the video for Unit 5 Day 9 Practice, Example 2. All right, so we are trying to predict the products when we mix these two things together, these two ionic compounds. So I'm trying to figure out what they will be. First thing is we're going to break down our reactants and into their cations and anions so we know what we're switching. Now remember, the cations are going to be what's written first, and they'll either be metals or NH4+. And in this first reactant here, that's what I have. So I've got my NH4+, and then the anion is going to be sulfur. Now I'm saying NH4+ because I remembered that the charge of ammonium is +1. But if you didn't know that, you would look here on the polyatomic ions chart. All right, the next one, we're going to break this down into Pb lead, and its anion, which would be the nonmetal part, nitrate, NO3. Okay, so now the next thing we're going to do here is we're just going to switch them, and we're going to see if, then we'll check the formulas. So I'm going to switch the first and the last, right, because they're switching partners. So these two will get together, this cation, that anion, and it's going to form NH4. And I'm giving myself a little space in case I need it to write in parentheses or anything. Okay, so NH4NO3, and then the next one is going to be, I'm switching the inner one, so Pb and S. Okay, and remember we write the cation, whatever's written first has to be written first in the product as well. So since lead was written first, it has to be written first here. Okay, so now with that being said, we need to check these formulas to make sure that they're correct. So NH4, if you have a polyatomic, go to the chart to figure out the charge. It has a +1 charge. And nitrate, which is also a polyatomic, it has a -1 charge. Okay, so this formula is correct because if you add +1 and -1 together, it equals 0, so that formula is good. And then for lead, we have to figure out the charge, remember, because lead is a transition metal. So we're going to figure that out by going back to the reactant and figuring out what the charge of lead must be. So to do that, I have to look at the anion. The anion is nitrate, NO3-, so each nitrate has a -1 charge. Now the number outside the parentheses tells you how many nitrates you have. That subscript outside the parentheses tells you that you have 2 nitrates. So that means I've got 2 of them. So far, when I do 2 times -1, I get a -2 charge from the anion part. Now the overall charge must equal 0. I have 1 lead cation here. So what must the charge of the lead cation be in order for the overall charge to be 0? So what plus -2 will give me 0? And the answer to that will be +2. So that means that this lead must have a +2 charge. Okay, so I had to figure that one out because it's a transition metal. Now sulfur is here in group 15, sorry, not group 15, group 16, and that has a -2 charge. All right, so this formula is also correct because if I add +2 and -2 together, I get a 0, overall 0 charge. So far I've been super duper lucky. I haven't had to correct any formulas. All right, let's check it out for the next video. We're going to do example 4.